What's up, guys? It's McNulty here. Welcome back to the channel. I hope you guys are all doing well, and we are back by popular demand. Thank you guys so much for your response to the last video. I really do appreciate it. It seems like everybody's responding really well to these videos, and I'm excited to keep on making them. And today we are going to go ahead with the epic and rare heroes. So we're going to be looking at we're looking for the top epic and rare heroes in Empires and Puzzles. And I'm going to do them both together because if we have a look down this list, there are not that many. And I know it's interesting when you put it into perspective. If you put these against the legendary heroes, I mean, just the epics, there's only about 40 heroes in here, and that includes the costumes. So we are desperately in need of some more epic and rare heroes. But because there's not too many, we're going to go through these together. And also I'm going to do this as we're going to be looking for the top 5 heroes in each category. So the top 5 epics and the top 5 rares. So only the best are going to make the cut. So we're going to go through the epics first. So we want to start with the top row, obviously. I think I'm gonna sort of skip over these heroes pretty quickly, but these heroes are some of the most impactful heroes in the whole entire game, and they are the most readily available. So they're very important, a lot of these 4-star heroes and these 3-star heroes as well. So starting off in the left-hand corner here with Anastasia, I've seen her used to pretty okay effect, I would say, especially in Bloody Battle because of the second charge where she does do a boatload of damage and she summons fiends. But otherwise, she's not really that impactful of a hero. So I wouldn't say I would put her in the S tier. I think she's more of a B grade hero, but does have her niche in the Bloody Battle format. So that's about all I've got to say about Anastasia. Now, Bellreeve is a pretty decent hero. He can be the last sort of man standing, and he can do some pretty serious damage, running at average speed, and hits pretty hard. And then he's got that unique effect where the damage spreads to the nearby. Unfortunately, though, I'm not going to say he's an S tier hero from the 4 stars. So you can take him or leave him kind of thing with Bellreeve. Now, Bogart next to him is an absolute beast. Hits 3 for the same amount of damage, and in fact, he's the only 4-star defense down against Holee. So just for that alone, being a unique hero, being able to do something that nobody else can do, he would definitely be an S tier hero for me. And I do love the Rage ether talent, goes well hand in hand with the fact that he's dealing damage. So if you spend your ethers on him, you're not going to regret it. So a definite S tier hero in Bogart. Now moving along to Chow. Very interesting hero. He is running at fast speed, and with his 3rd costume, that's this version with the little tiger cub, he is probably the hardest hitting fast speed 4-star that we have in the game. He hits 3 for 275% damage, which is pretty huge, especially with the costume bonuses and the attack up on the ether talent as well. So a very, very good hard hitting hero. But I kind of wish they'd blended this costume with the one where he's got like a dodo on his shoulder, because that is where he steals the mana generation of the hit target. Unfortunately, with the harder hitting one in the 3rd version, he just gives a reduced mana generation, which is still good, but not as good as it could have been, unfortunately, and a bit of a downfall with the Barbarian class as well. But otherwise, I do like the 2nd costume for Chow. I would say S tier among the epic heroes there. DeAndre is a fantastic healer. If you are struggling for a healer and you don't have any 5-star healers, he will do in a pinch. He's fantastic. He heals the entire team for a decent amount. I think it's 30%. And he also gives the increased mana generation, which is awesome. And he flips around the defense down into a defense up increase of about 50%. So he's got a lot going for him. His stats are making him a little bit dated now as the Circus family are getting a little bit old. But who knows? We might see some costumes for these heroes in the future. But he'll still do. If you're lacking a Holee healer, he's a pretty good choice. Danzaburo on the end of the row, I'm not a huge fan of. I just don't like the randomness of his effect, even in his costume. There, he could be doing some amazing stuff, but he could also be doing some absolute rubbish. So, not a fan of him. So, from the top row, I'd say DeAndre, costume 2 for Chow, and Bogart will be my top picks. Maybe Bell Reeve in a pinch, but that would be it. Then on the second row, we've got Goldie, the newest 4-star, I think. I'm going to say, I think, yeah, I don't think there's any newer than Goldie, but she's an absolute amazing hero. Just with that reflect and the fact that she gets the ailment immunity on her second limit breaks, it makes her an amazing hero. Plus, she increases the attack. She gets the growth effect as well. And having that available to us at the 4-star level, I would say, you could easily level 2 or 3 copies of Goldie and put her on multiple teams and you wouldn't regret it. Just an excellent, excellent healer. And Gretel next to her doesn't quite stand the test of time. Again, really dated stats. And her brother Hansel would be the one that you would want out of the Grim Forest family, I think. Anyways, that would be the one you would want, would be Hansel and not so much Gretel. A very similar effect that they do. Griffin's a good hero. I think he was probably one of the first 4-stars that we saw that could bypass. And I do like his effect. He does hit really hard. And it doesn't matter whether the enemy's got counterattack up, he's going to bypass that. But in his costume, he gives the effect of the bypass to his allies as well, the nearby allies. It's only for 2 turns though, which I think is a little bit short. I think he could have had longer. So I'm going to say A+ for Griffin, not quite S tier. And then Guardian Jackal, just such an incredible hero with a huge elemental defense down. One of the best heroes to have against Titans. And he just will increase your Titan scores to no end. So this version of Guardian Jackal, the non-costume version is the one you want. The costume, I don't know why, but they gave him like this humongous defense up for the target, for the caster and nearby against Dark. Which is all right, I guess, if you're facing a Dark heavy team, but I don't see why you would want to use him in the costume version, aside from the fact that he gets a massive stat boost. So that's the only reason I would say to use the costume version. But the original version, running at very fast speed with like a 56% defense down against Holee, absolutely brilliant hero. Definitely S tier. And then Gullen Bursty, Mr. Piggy. Gullen Bursty's an amazing hero. He can really just stand on his own, and he has that unique effect where he gives the delayed increase on the attack, plus he's got the boosted health. And it just, that damage that happens, if you have multiples of Gullen Bursty, try putting them on the same team. You will be amazed at the kind of damage that this hero is able to do just with 1 or 2 or even 3 little piggies on your team. It's just really fun to play around with, and he's an excellent hero in the rush format as well. So definite S tier hero for Gullen Bursty. Then Holee, on the other hand, she is just a absolute flop. I'm not even going to spend any time on Holee. She's just terrible. Don't level her. Hu Tao, again, also, I mean, I had a soft spot for him because I used him initially because he was one of my first epic heroes, and I just used him to play through map stages and things like that. But he gets old pretty fast. And the fact that he's giving that blind doesn't really make up for the fact that he just doesn't hit hard enough in today's era for a slow speed hero. Lady Woolerton, I'm going to say she's an S tier hero, even with her dated stats. I think it's about time that we saw a costume for Lady Woolerton. Maybe in the Easter portal when it comes around, we will be seeing a costume for her, I hope, because having that fast speed meaty heal is just absolutely awesome. And she's gotten me out of a few sticky situations. So yeah, I would definitely rate her as an S tier hero. But again, like I say, she's very squishy. So she will need second limit breaks. But she does get the defense up, so I guess that works in her favor. Now, Li Zhu. What can we say about Li Zhu? From the very beginning of Empires and Puzzles, the original version of Li Zhu was probably the premier tank for the longest time. just with that mana cut and that damage to all. And then we had the costume version, which was giving a slightly lower mana cut, but still quite effective. And then the second costume, man, oh man. I honestly can't wait for the tune of this hero, but having the second costume of Costume 2 Li Ju, she gets used all the time in my raids and in my wars. She's just such a versatile attacking hero, such a simple special, but so effective. And great ether talent as well. Just an absolutely brilliant hero, definite S tier from the 4-star heroes. Mist. Mist is an insanely good hero. If you have Mist and you haven't leveled her up, I would definitely go ahead and do it. Just do it now. I know she's an older hero, but you can spare a few ethers to pop into her because her effects are just insane. She does so much at fast speed. She blocks the buffs, she gives defense down against special skills, she reduces a huge amount of mana generation for the opposition. And she's just a crippling hero, and she's very good at disabling some of these specials that you really don't want to fire off. I mean, if you've got a Ludwig tank, for example, fire her off and the caster nearby will be immune to new buffs before you know it, and their mana generation slows just so much. She can make a really good, impactful part of a Holee stack, even at the 5-star level with the second limit breaks. Skorotek. I'm not a huge fan of Skorotek. I mean, I know a lot of people use him, and I know he can be pretty good in the bloody battle format as well because he gives the fiends, and the fiends explode, etc. But the fiend health is not a lot. He doesn't do a lot of upfront damage, and the fact that it takes like 3 turns for the fiends to explode really, for me, would make him in the category of not really being a fast hero. So he's a fast hero, but he's not a fast hero. It's like they're kind of trying to coax you into something that you're not getting. You don't get what you paid for with Skorotek, unfortunately. And then who do we have from this last row? We have got my man Steropes. Alan from The Hangover. Tell me he doesn't look like Alan. This guy is absolutely one of my favorite heroes. I play with him all the time, and there's so many people who hate him, and there's some people who love him. I just think it's because they don't know how to use him in the right way. So just let me give you a quick explanation of the beauty that is Steropes. So basically what you have here in Steropes is, at the first charge, which is faster than very fast, he will give a little bit of a health boost. It's okay. I mean, it's a little minimal amount of boosted health, but it's enough to get you out of a sticky situation if you really, really need it. But where he comes into his own is on his second charge, where he basically makes the whole team invincible for 3 turns. And the thing is, it doesn't matter what happens after that. If they die, they're going to be coming back with 20% health. So I put him in with a average speed Holee team. You can use him with the mono team, or you can use him with a team like I do with Matilda and C-Rock, who do a lot of dot damage. You fire Steropes off, you fire the other heroes off, and you just let the dot damage do its thing, because it doesn't matter what they throw at you, you know you're going to be coming back. And I can't tell you how many times I could go up with a trio, just those 3, and beat some of the most overpowered teams in the game. Doesn't work for everybody. I'm not saying it will work for every single person, but definitely there are a lot of ways to use him, and I think he's an amazing hero. So don't underestimate the humble Steropes. I hope we see the Styx family back again, to be fair. Voluptus, she could have been an insane hero, but unfortunately she just heals and destroys fiends from the caster and nearby. And that means that she falls down massively. She really should have been doing that for the whole team, and then she would have been a completely different kind of hero. But as it is, just not worth leveling. Waddles, absolute S tier all day long. My man. He's just the weirdest looking hero, but so effective. Just an excellent hero. Shifting mindless attack, fast speed, really heavy hit. What more could you want? And then next to him, we've got Wang Yuanji. She, again, as well, it's just a pity that she's running at slow speed. Otherwise, I would have leveled her in a heartbeat. But as it is, I think she really is only usable for the rush format. She's got a really big health boost for all allies, and she destroys all the fiends But yeah, she's just so limited because of her speed, unfortunately, that I can't, in good faith, put her in the S tier. I would say she's probably like A minus type of hero in regular play, but in Rush she just bumps up to an S plus. And then Wukong. Just an insanely good hero, very fun to play with against Titans. In the initial costume, he is probably the hardest hit all in Holee, so that's interesting about him. And I do like the second costume where the accuracy is, I mean, the attack increase is slightly reduced, but the lack of accuracy is also slightly reduced, so it makes him hit. It makes the other allies hit a bit harder, a bit more often. And yeah, he's just an insanely good hero. If you're struggling for somebody to increase your Titan scores, and if you don't mind a couple of misses here and there, Wukong is your guy. Wukong, sorry. And then Xeon, just an absolute waste of time hero. Just terrible, 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 terrible. Rethink these heroes that you're putting out into the Super Elemental portal, because Xeon is just dog, you know what. And then let's move on to the rares. So that's about it for the epic heroes. Now moving on to the rares list. Let's see who we have here. I just want to pick out the absolute best of the best. So from the top row, not Agnes. I mean, she's just, yeah, she's okay, but not really. Bertolf. Bertolf is a G. Again, like I said about Wukong, I mean, if you're looking for somebody to increase your scores against Titans and you don't want to miss, then this is your guy. Because Bertolf, it just gives the increase of a flat 100% increase of attack for all normal damage. So a fantastic hero against Titans. And in order to be S tier, you don't really have to do too many things. You just need to do one thing and do it better than anyone else. And that's what Bertolf is at the 4-star level. Candy's a pretty good healer, but I don't like the up to 50% bit. I really don't like that. And then who else from this top row? Dawa, definitely Dawa. She's probably the best hero in the game. Not. I'm just trying to think now. Felton. I would say Felton is an S tier hero all day long, just a unique effect. Nobody gets that even at the 4-star level, where he gives the reflect to buffs to the whole team and running at fast speed. And he actually hits really hard. Plus he gets cover, plus the attack up, ether talent. Plus he gets the extra 100 damage against boosted health, I think. That's just insane. So a really, really good hero. Ganju can be really good. In the Toon version, he's got that super duper mana cut, which I think cuts the mana by something like 40 or 50%. It's just ridiculous. So yeah, I'm not going to say quite S tier hero, but so far Bertolf and Felton definitely. Jacko from the Untold Tales family. He's a really good hero with the mana steal and distributes to all allies. The only problem is the mana steal is so minimal, it really doesn't do that much. It's like at 33%, but he does do some damage as well. He's kind of a jack of all trades and a master of none, unfortunately. But yeah, he's still pretty good and quite usable, I would say, at the 3-star level. Plus, I do like the defense up ether talent. Jolly, next to him, S tier hero, gotta be. From the Christmas heroes, just the newest hero that we've had released, and I've seen how effective he's been in the recent Rush tournaments. He's just a monster. Definitely level him if you do manage to get him, or if you have got him already from the Christmas summon, I would level him. And then Keilani, no, hell no. Next row, Kinsashi. Also an S tier hero in the 3-star category. He hits multiple enemies. He often hits more enemies than there are, hit more times than there are enemies on the board. And as he increases through his charges, if you manage to hold him to the second and to the third charge, he can really be doing some pretty serious damage. He is just a primary damage dealer, but oftentimes that's all you need to win the battle. And Kinsashi is a finisher, that's for sure. So S tier hero for him. And then B-Man Cavassier. He's just an insanely good hero and one of the best costumes I think I've seen. So he is basically the 3-star version of Bira. He stops any other minions from being deployed onto the board. As soon as his minions go up, every time they hit, they stop minions. And then in this version, his minions dispel buffs or prevent buffs. So yeah, you've got the best of both worlds, I think, for the buff booster tournament, and also for tournaments where you're going up against like heroes like Dawn quite often. I'll use him as a counter against Dawn at the 3-star level. Is just fantastic. And other minion summoners as well. In fact, I've even thrown him in on some heroes where I need minion destroyers for 5 stars, and he's worked just fine with the second limit breaks, granted, but he works just fine. Molee is a really good hero as well, just for that increased critical damage. So she increases the chance for critical hits, and hits all as well, running at fast speed. So there's quite a lot to like about her. But maybe just not quite as powerful. And then Paella, I think that's how you say the name, from the Owls family. Now, this is a really good hero, and I mean, basically, this hero does a very, very similar thing to my man from the Christmas heroes, Jolly. Just in a slightly different way with the Moonrise Ward, where she reduces the incoming damage as well. But if I have to go out on a limb, because the Moonrise Ward is based on the attacker's attack and defender's defense, and that's not always guaranteed to be where you want it to be. I would go with Jolly over Paella for a very slow speed defensive hero. I hope that makes sense. And then Pixie's pretty good. I would say she's probably going to make the cut at the 3-star level, maybe just about, but very dated stats. And then Poppy's just received a costume today, in fact. But I'm really disappointed because there's so much randomness in her special, and just hate randomness in damage dealing specials like hers. So I'm not going to put her in the S tier category, unfortunately, even though she could be if she wasn't so random. Raketra, a really good healer, but I find that is pretty much all she does. Obviously, the boosted health thing's calling the defense up against Dark, but there are a lot of workarounds for her as well, so I haven't found her to be that effective, to be fair. And then we've got Ribbit. Ribbit's an insanely good hero. I do like Ribbit a lot, and the fact that he's got the same amount of damage, a hit 3, plus he reduces the mana, plus he gives poison damage as well. He's just doing a lot all at the same time, and all in quite a good fashion. So yeah, I'm going to say S tier hero for Ribbit. And then finally, Sally. Sally's got to be an S tier hero as well. Just a boatload of damage to the entire team. But only in the rush format. I think in other formats she falls down a bit. Don't know why Sally definitely got to be a she, doesn't it? So yeah, that is pretty much it for the 3 stars and the 4 stars in the Holy Element. So that we've gone over the whole list, and it's probably taken me about like half an hour shorter than it took me to go over the 5 stars. So I have picked out my top 10. I've picked up my top 5, sorry, from the 3 stars and from the 4 stars. So we're going to start off with the 3 stars, counting down from number 5. So let's go. Who's at number 5? My man Ribbit. So I feel like I just talked about him literally a second ago, but let's have another look. So this little weirdo froggy dude deals 250% damage to the target nearby. I know it's not a huge hit, but it's quite a lot at the 3-star level. And then he reduces the mana of the target nearby by 15%. So it makes him really impactful on defense as well. And on offense, you're just going to enjoy the benefit of that decreased mana generation, or decreased mana, reduced mana, whatever you want to say. But the target nearby also get that poison damage, and that poison damage will increase with the limit breaks and emblems as well. So just as a damage dealer, and the fact that he's reducing the mana as well, he makes my number 5 spot. Now in number 4, we have the chicken wielding beastly bicep dude, Mr. Bertolf. And as I said before, his special is just really simple, but you don't need to do a lot. You just need to do one thing that helps your whole team out and do it really well. And he increases the attack, the normal attack, by 100% for 4 turns. He is primarily for use against Titans, but you can use him at the 3-star level for your attacking teams to get that extra tile damage going. And just for the fact that he's so usable against Titans, even against the 14-star Titans, means that he makes my number 4 spot for the 3 stars. Now, moving on to number 3. It is Jolly, the weirdest looking elf, just come on back from a mission to the North Pole. And he's just so good. I mean, let's just read over what he does. So he boosts the health of all allies by 475. At the 3-star level, a boost of 475 is probably half of your HP. And then he summons the elf minion, which gives you an additional little meat shield. All allies then reduce all received damage by 45% for 6 turns. That's 6 turns. And they get an increase of 35% mana generation for 6 turns. So when he goes off, he not only boosts the health for everybody, but he reduces the incoming damage by 45%. That is higher than most 5 stars who do that effect. And that increase of mana generation. So he just makes it so that the whole team is absolutely impossible to kill, which means that he definitely deserves the number 3 spot. Even though he is a little bit limited to use in the rush format, I wouldn't let that put you off leveling Jolly, because when that rush tournament comes around, and even in the rush wars, I want to use him as a 5-star in the 5-star, like in the proper rush wars. I think he can be very effective as well. Just an insanely good hero. So he makes the number 3 spot without any difficulty at all. Now in number 2 for the 3 stars, it's my man, Cavassier. And I'm going to say it's this costume rather than the other costume because it's just so effective. He is the best minion control hero in the 3 stars. And in the 4 stars, you know, I would say that if you need minion control, this is your guy. You know, short of leveling Bira or costume Bira, this guy is just absolutely amazing. And oftentimes it's a case of whoever's Cavassier goes off first, they're the one that's going to win the battle because they prevented minions. And especially, like I said, with the advent of Dawn, the sort of mini Lady of the Lake, you know, this guy has come in extremely clutch on many an occasion. So that's why he makes my number 2 spot. Just an insanely good hero. In fact, this is a picture of my Cavassier, and you can see his stats are not bad for a 3-star. So yeah, he can definitely do with those second limit breaks, and I guarantee you won't regret it. Now, who's going to make the number 1 spot? I'm not sure if you've guessed it by now, but you probably have. So let's go. It's my man Felton, the ugliest looking little hero that you've ever seen in your life, but also just the most effective and also so usable in all levels of the game. I mean, you can put him up against a 5-star hero that gives these extreme buffs. All it takes is one shot for him to go off at fast speed, and all of those buffs are yours for the next 3 turns. You know, he regenerates his own health. He gets the cover effect, which sometimes works to his detriment, especially if you're going to use him against really powerful heroes, because he doesn't have the greatest defense in the world. But he just hits hard. He gets that class as well, which gives him the chance to dodge. You know, I wish they would release a 4-star of Felton, you know, or Felton with 4-star stats, you know, maybe a 3rd limit break just for the 3 stars so we can make them a bit more relevant. But at the same time, you know, this guy is deserved of the number 1 spot. And if you have a copy of him and you haven't leveled him yet, I would say go ahead and level him right now. You won't regret it. Just an absolutely insane hero. So he is, for me, the top 3-star in the Holy element in the whole of Empires and Puzzles. Now, it's time to go into the epic heroes. So we're going to count down the epics from number 5 right the way up to the top epic hero in the game. So number 5 coming in for the epic heroes, coming in hot, it is Mr. Piggyman. I only chose this one because the picture looks so dope. Like, I just think this pig with like tons of arrows, golden tusks, the art on this is just insane. Tell me if you think I'm wrong, but he looks absolutely amazing. So his special skill is awesome. I mean, just for both of them, and you can use them in many different situations in the game, but you can actually pair them with each other. They work best when they're put with each other. So two or three or more, however many you want to have, and just watch the carnage ensue. So his special is with this costume, all allies regenerate boosted health, 480 boosted health over 4 turns. It takes a while with this one, but like I said before, you pair him up with the original version and you've got an immediate health boost, and then you've got a boost over time as well. So he's protecting himself long enough so that he can use the main part of his special, which is that really big damage. The caster then also gets increased attack, and a further 15% increase every time he's hit for the following 4 turns. So that attack, even though he doesn't have a huge attack stat, it stacks on itself for the following 4 turns. So it's like a rage effect that's building. And when the effect ends, all enemies get 236 damage. Each hit on the caster or their allies during the duration increases the damage by 15 to a maximum of 416. And with limit breaks, emblems, and the rest of it, this can get up to a lot higher. So, I've seen teams with 3 pigs wipe out some massive second limit broken, or at least limit broken and 5 stars, and just take them down to practically nothing within one shot. So, yeah, he can be a really effective hero. And that's why he makes my number 5 spot, but also for usability in Rush Wars as well. Just an absolutely insane hero. So, yeah. Gullenburst, he deserves that spot. And then moving on into number 4, we have Bogart. Like I said before, just a unique hero, the only hero that gives defense down in the nature element at the 4-star, in the holy element, at the 4-star level. And he deals a pretty decent amount of damage as well. 305% to the target and nearby is a lot of damage. For a 4-star running at average speed. And then the defense also decreases each turn. It's very tricky to sort of play off of that. I've tried it, but I kind of just prefer to take advantage of his defense down in, first or second turn. But if you can wait until the 3rd turn, that defense down gets up to a minus 55% decrease. At which point, if you follow up with a hero like, for example, Chow, or Hu Tao, or just maybe Wukong in his second costume, any heavy hitting yellow hero that you follow up with, even at the 5-star level, especially at the 5-star level, is just going to decimate the team after Bogart fires off. And that's why he makes the number 4 spot. Now, number 3 for the epic heroes in the holy element is Waddles. I know some people are going to probably say he should have been higher, but, this is as high as I dare to put Waddles. He's an absolutely brilliant hero, don't get me wrong. Just running at fast speed, a pretty good amount of damage, 365% to the target, but it's all about the shifting mindless attack. I mean, it moves to any enemy when the mana's full, and if you time it just right, I mean, I've seen this jump just from one to another to another to another, and he can just wipe the mana of the whole team in one shot and then leave a hero with mindless attack on them. So just a great control hero. Also another hero that it's good to sort of think about leveling duplicates or multiples of, and because he's at the 4-star level, it doesn't take too many mats to be able to do that. So, he's got as good of a skill as somebody like Bubbles, just not quite as much damage. So an excellent hero, the right class, just a really, really great all-rounder, and very good either on attack or defense. Wherever you want to pop him in, he will serve you well. Now, number 2 for the 4-star heroes is Goldie, the newest goblin, or the newest 4-star hero that we've got. And I'm going to say it, I don't know why they don't release 4-star heroes more often. I think we really need more of these heroes in the game because they're also usable, and we just want a bit of variety. Is that too much to ask for? Sorry about the messages coming in, but I didn't switch off my notifications, guys. Just bear with me on that. Her special skill is awesome just because she gets that reflect and she gets a big upfront heal. Until the release of Goldie, at the 4-star level, we only had Kitty, and Kitty was doing a pretty good job of being the best reflect hero in the game. But Goldie just came in with her earrings and her fancy whatever the hell she's got on, and just wrecked everything. She's just such a great healer. Again, like I said as well, the ether talent with the element immunity makes it that much better as well. And that's why you will see her on ward defenses in, at the top tiers, not quite the very top tiers, but quite high up. You will see Goldie in raid defenses and ward defenses. She is that good. Just an insanely good hero, great heal, great talent with the reflect, and very usable. So yeah, that's why she makes the number 2 spot. Now, the top hero is quite obvious to me. I know it's going to be obvious to a lot of you, but there could only be one for this spot, and it is none other than Li Zhu. I mean, she is the best epic hero in the game at the moment. Like, she just is, hands down. And since her release, she has been, and it's been a little while since we've had the release of her costume. And, I don't think that there's any epic hero in the game. We'll find out when we do the other lists, to be fair. But at the moment, there's nobody who even holds a torch to my girl Li Zhu in this costume, and such a simple special. I mean, 270 to the damage to the target and nearby. It's a good amount of damage for a 3-star, but nothing ridiculous. But the target and nearby getting silenced for 3 turns, that's a game changer. And not just in Rush Wars, but in all forms of the game. She'll give you enough time to be able to tile dump into heroes that are super duper powerful. And you can get your other heroes charged, and that's all you need. The ether talent doesn't go amiss either. And also the, what am I looking for? The superior jinx. Yeah, that's it. The superior jinx where she can dispel with tiles. That also is an absolutely insane skill. So she's a dispeller, she's a silencer, she's a hitter. She's just an insanely good hero. And she makes my number 1 spot. So that is going to be it for the epic and rare heroes in the Holy element. I hope you guys have enjoyed the video, and I hope you guys do agree with some of my choices. Please let me know if you think that there's certain heroes that should have been included onto this list, and let me know if you or who you think I should have included onto this list. And also give me some reasons as well, some solid reasons. We can have a bit of a conversation about this, but I think I've pretty much got the lists as I do want them for now. So yeah, please also do let me know what you think. Drop me a like as well, subscribe to the channel, and let me know if you'll be happy to see the other videos in the 4 stars and 3 stars as well. And yeah, appreciate all of you guys. Wish you all the best of luck in your summons, whatever else you're doing within the game. And I'll see you all again in the next video. Bye for now.